Hey guys, what's up? My name is Anthony, and welcome to another edition of BNA Sports Talk. And today, what I want to talk about is the New York Giants and my top 10 list. But before we get into that, I want to review PFF's top 10 list returning guys from last year. My list is going to be more specific towards what I think guys are going to do this year. But here are the top guys according to PFF on our roster. So some runners-up, Evan Ingram, 64.1. He'd be higher. I mentioned this in my real list if he could stay healthy. Solder at 64.8. That was really high for me. People hate Solder. I think he's a little better than what people think, but he's still, I don't think it's 64.8. Jones is barely above him at 65.7. And Peppers barely missing at 66.1. Number 10 on their list was Darius Slayton. Well, not their list. It depends how you think about it. Darius Slayton at 70.3 and Carter at 70.3 as well. Carter a little bit, I think he takes a big step up this year. Didn't quite make my list. A little bit of a preview, but on the edge, he has great bend. I think he has a really high upside, especially with Marcus Golden leaving. I think he can take a step up and have more of responsibility this year. And he's going to be pressured with a bunch of guys that we drafted this year. Darius Slayton, 70.3, dealt with a lot of drops and stuff like that in college. Really buttoned that up, and I think he can emerge as our number one wide receiver this year. Next is Julian Love at 70.5. Is great in the slot. Needs to improve a little bit. Sometimes, his hips aren't that fluid. Sometimes he needs to have better fluid hips, take better angles in pass coverage. But overall, when he's rushing the passer, it's just like, he's a bullet. He'll find that hole and he'll get to him. Next, barely above Love is Williams. I don't agree with this. You'll see on my list, but Williams at a 70.6. He's not as bad as people think. In the PFF shows this. He should have had 4 or 5 sacks this year. And our defensive he was double teamed, and it was a bunch of things. And next, we have Saquon Barkley. Had a little bit of an off year. That's because of injury, we all know, at 72.2. Mayo was ahead of him at 72.8. We'll talk more about Barkley in my next list. Mayo, great run defender, struggles with the pass game, but that's the reason why we brought in some guys in the draft. And, not so much Blake Martinez. He's not really a great pass coverage guy, but he's been able to do that in Patrick Graham's system, so maybe you do that. And Ryan Connolly, in his brief time, has shown that he can do it. And then Sterling Shepard at 75.8. I disagree with this because he hasn't been consistent. We've seen his, 40 time, 4.48. We've seen he's strong, he's tough. He can make those big plays. He struggled with the drops a couple years ago, and I thought, is Sterling Shepard really just overrated? Like, he was supposed to be the next coming of Odell, and he kind of didn't live up to that. I think he's a solid wide receiver, too, though, in any team. He's a good contract. I think we're only paying him like $9-10 million a year, so it's solid. Then take a look at the top 4. 3 out of the top 4 are defensive linemen. I disagree with this, but, B.J. Hill, Lawrence, Tomlinson, these guys are the future of our team. And Williams, 4 out of the top 7 are defensive tackles. That's crazy. And Kevin Zeitler's in there at 76.4. He had a very underrated season. He's the reason why we were ranked like 17th offensive line. No, we should have been like 22. It was, I think PFF really overrated our offensive line. Even though, Daniel Jones ran into some sacks, he was getting pressured on like 90% of his dropbacks. I'm being a little bit, over-exaggerating, but, Daniel Jones was getting pressured a lot. Our run offense wasn't good at all. Kevin Zeitler, though, was a reason for our success. He was a solid rock there. But now let's get into my list, the list that's the most important of all. And some honorable mentions on my list. I mentioned them before. Lorenzo Carter, Dalvin Tomlinson, who was number 1 on the list, but I don't think he's a top 10 on our team, actually. Shepard and Ingram and Zeitler. After I made this list, I was like, Zeitler should have been a little bit higher, but I kept him off my list. And, my list actually has a rookie on it. But let's get into it now. Blake Martinez, I mentioned how he can fit in our offense. Inside linebacker, maybe we just play with one single linebacker like the Green Bay Packers did. But I don't think we're going to do that. I don't think we're going to do that with a lot of looks. But Blake Martinez can be trusted to stop the run. He can be a tackling machine for us. I think he's going to be solid there. Peppers and Xavier McKinney are going to be, hopefully, I'm a little bit cautiously optimistic, the next best safety duo like with Minnesota. Obviously a different role from Anthony Harris and Harrison Smith, but overall solid. Peppers is going to have less special teams role, but that's going to be fine for us. And Peppers is hopefully going to be a Pro Bowl safety next year. I think we picked up his 5th-year option, and that'll be next year. So hopefully he can be on our team for years to come. Golden Tate, I have it number 8. I was thinking about putting Zeitler here, but Tate is just, underrated pass blocker. He's always physical. He always comes to play. A little bit swaggy, I guess, and he doesn't really fit almost with this team, it feels. But I think Tate overall is just a solid leader for this team, brings in some veteran experience. He's the oldest guy on this team, I think, now that I'm thinking about it. So he brings in some veteran experience. He made some great plays against Miami and the Patriots, and he's overall been there. Not the greatest separation, but solid. Andrew Thomas at number 7. This is my boy. I wanted him for the past year, and I'm so happy he's on our team. Every day, it's just like I'm happy that Andrew Thomas is on our team. He's going to struggle a little bit in the first couple weeks as he settles in, but overall, towards the end of the year, you're going to be like, yeah, this is a top 7 tackle in this league. Forget about top 7 player on the New York Giants. He's going to be a worthwhile pick. Am I just saying that because, self-fulfilling prophecy? Maybe. Darius Slayton and Jones tied together like I thought they'd be. In the PFF ranking, they were tied together too. They're right next to each other. Jones and Slayton is going to be a combination. Do I think Slayton is the best number one? Is he true number one? Not really. I think he can develop into that. Still has some things in the game he needs to work on, but the wide receiver coach, we have one of the best in the league. Slayton is going to work on that. But overall, just a pass catcher. Physical. He's the guy that we need. He's the guy that we needed. We snatched in the 5th round. Daniel Jones, we all know is the defense. Are the defenses in the NFC East going to know the Air Coryell better than Daniel Jones? Maybe, but Jones is a high cerebral guy. Under pressure, he was ranked top 10. Top 10 quarterback under pressure, according to PFF, which is great. Next is James Bradbury. Our cornerbacks need to step up. We had Julian Love in the top 10, but that was the only cornerback in the top 10. I think James Bradbury is a top 5 player on our team, stepping in. He has a lot of experience there. He shut down wide receivers like Amari Cooper, like DeAndre Hopkins, like Julio Jones, Michael Thomas. He's done good against them, so I believe in James Bradbury. I'm optimistic with him coming into the season, and I think he's the guy that we need. DeAndre Baker, you feel like is the X factor, but James Bradbury needs to be solid for us to be successful next year. He needs to be a step up from Janoris Jenkins. Then we go to our defensive line. Number 3, Lawrence. Number 2, Williams. I think we need to pump the brake on Lawrence. People think he's like, I watch him play. He's not like amazing. Obviously, I've been watching a lot of Aaron Donald, so it's kind of creating high expectations. But people act like he's Aaron Donald. He's not. He's worse than Williams, because Williams always gets double teamed. He should have had more sacks last year. Sometimes I see Lawrence get twisted a little bit, get fooled on some run plays, but that comes with experience. And I think he's going to be a solid defensive lineman for our future. And then Williams, I think he's going to be a top 2 player for us. He's playing in a contract year, so he's going to want to play well. He's getting paid a lot of money. It's going to be a lot of controversy, but I like it. Saquon Barkley, what can I say? He has to be in the number 1. Took a step back last year, obviously because of injury, but I think this year he's going to take a step up. Hopefully he does. I think he's going to have a 2,000-yard season. Daniel Jones is going to learn how to check down to him. He's going to be the last-ditch option, but I think Daniel Jones, for the first couple weeks, is going to be like, okay, I need Barkley to help me learn this offense a little bit more, but he's going to have more time. Saquon Barkley is going to have more running lanes. He's going to be able to have more explosive plays, and I think Barkley is going to be the key addition to our team, and don't be surprised if we're thinking MVP towards the end of the season. But hopefully you guys enjoy my list. Let me know what you guys think. Did I leave anybody out? Really, I'm not too sure about Tate at 8, but it rhymes. It kind of fits. But hope you guys enjoy this video. Again, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye, guys.